Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the Huawei Fast Track HCIA Datacom question bank. First, let's take a look at the first question. Which of the following command line views exists on our VRP? Actually, VRP is a system we will use on Huawei devices in the future. All the different views are within VRP. When we access the device, we first enter the user view. From the user view, we use the system view to enter the system view, which means entering the system. Now in this process, after entering the system view, we can choose to go into the interface to access the interface view, or through protocols like OSPF, ISIS, or BGP, enter the protocol view. So during this process, in fact, all four views can exist within our VRP. So for this question, our choices are A, B, C, and D. For the second question, we can clearly see that in the VRP system, when we run the mkdir test command, our system will automatically create a new directory named test. So this statement is indeed correct. This is because in this process, the mkdir command itself is actually specifically used to create directories. Now here, if I execute the test command, it will execute such a directory. Therefore, here we should choose true, or in other words, we should select A, which is the first option. For the third question, we can see that link aggregation and our stacking technology can be used in campus networks to enhance the security of the network. Actually, this is not only used in campus networks. More often, in fact, we can also implement link aggregation in our enterprises. Combined with our stacking technology, stacking essentially allows us to treat multiple devices as one. Normally, if I need to configure them, I have to do it one by one. But if I use stacking, then in this process, I can stack 4 devices into one. And by managing a single switch, I can control all 4 switches. In this way, I can manage my network more effectively. Moreover, if I stack them together during this process, I can use link aggregation combined with stacking to prevent the occurrence of multiple masters in our link aggregation. Because with our switches, if stacking is implemented, it's quite possible that a stacking failure or a link issue could result in multiple master devices appearing. The master device is responsible for managing the equipment. In this case, we can use link aggregation along with multi-master detection technologies to resolve this issue and enhance our network security. So in this case, this question is also correct, and the answer is A. For the fourth question, we can see a MAC address here. It says that this is the MAC address used to identify the host, and that it was obtained by a switch through ARP. It also claims that the host will change its IP address 3 times during this process, but in fact, that's not the case. Here we've dynamically learned about APP. APP is used to represent the relationship between our interface and the MAC address. However, if I have different IPs corresponding to the same MAC address, it means that in this scenario, I might have a computer here, and in the future, when I connect to a gateway, the gateway can help us reach these 3 destination networks. But in this case, because we're dealing with different subnets, we can't just broadcast our ARP packets. So here, what I'm actually asking for is the MAC address of the gateway. And this address is very likely to be the MAC address of our gateway. Therefore, in this question, it's not that our host changes its IP address 3 times. It's just that through ARP, we've happened to learn about a situation where one MAC corresponds to multiple routes. So the answer to this question is incorrect, and we should choose B. Next, for the fifth question, we can see that the question is asking us, which of the following is not one of the most commonly used devices deployed in our communication networks? Among them are our AC, switch, router, and the firewall. Generally, in our projects, the firewall is mainly responsible for security, while the router and switch are mainly responsible for our network communication. As for the AC, it is primarily used for wireless management of APs, and its occurrence is not very frequent. It is not commonly deployed. So in this case, we choose option A because the question is asking which one is not commonly used. These are the 5 questions from the Huawei certification question bank. If any of you are interested in Huawei certification in the future or want to take the Huawei certification exam, feel free to leave a comment below the video for technical discussions or send me a private message. That's all for today. Bye-bye.